One more. One more. Out of that fast water. Go ahead, hit it. Beautiful, I'll take it. Fish! You got him. Pull your rod up higher. Pull your rod up higher. Now reel fast. Reel fast, reel fast, reel fast, reel fast. Beautiful, let him go, let him go. Let him go, let him go. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that drag go. Very nice, beautiful. Beautiful big fish. Look at that pretty fish.
Wow, that's just some of the great action we saw on the Sacramento River. Hello everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Brent Cannon and this is Fly Fishing West. We're in Redding, California this week. Redding is kind of a crossroads to great outdoor activity. They've got hunting, fishing, boating, camping. There is something for everybody here and we're going to show you coming up next on Fly Fishing West. Redding is paradise for the adventurous and outdoor-oriented. We explore the Shasta Caverns. Plus, we found a great learning experience for the kids at the Turtle Bay Exploratorium. And what the heck is this? We'll explain. Woo! And of course, we did very well fishing today, landing several large, feisty trout. We're along the banks of the mighty Sacramento River and we're going to head out on drift boat in search of rainbow trout. Our guide today is Kirk Portocarrero from the Sac River Fly Guide. And Kirk, thanks for taking us out and having a great day today.
Thank you for coming, I appreciate it.
So I have to admit, I've been fly fishing for many years, but I have not done by drift boat yet. Any tips or last minute suggestions other than not fall out that you can give me?
Well, basically this is the best way to go. You're going to hook and land more fish on a drift boat than you are off the bank. And it's actually quite a bit of fun here. You're really gonna enjoy your day. This river alone here, we were talking about 1,000 trout per square mile here. So you're looking at a lot of fish in the river, and the system here is just gorging full of natural fly life and aquatic life. That's you've got eggs from the salmon that are spawning. You have quite a bit of salmon flies, caddis, your mayflies, and there's just gorging with flies in this river.
Tell me a little bit about the technique that we're going to do today. We're on top, down low, what are we going to do?
Today we're going to be nymphing, and nymphing is pretty much 99% of the fishing that's done on this river here. And when you're nymphing, you're basically watching an indicator, casting an indicator, and drifting through the holes and watching an indicator. When the indicator goes down, you set the hook.
What do you like about guiding here on this river? And again, because you can do so many different things, but this is just a great river. It's a famous spot, great trout fishing, awesome place.
I like the fact of, number one, the amount of people that come to Redding to see the area that we live in, and knowing that the fishing is so great. It's rated number 1 and 2, 3 in the western United States for the trout fishery, so we have basically people coming from all over to fish this river. The fishing is excellent, and an average day on this river could be 15 to 35 fish a day.
And what about the other rivers? There's so many lakes and streams here. You can fish the mighty Sac, but you can go other places not far, just down the road.
Within 15 minutes of here, you're on other rivers and lakes. Within 30 minutes to an hour from here, you're in some of the supreme fly fishing lakes and rivers around the area. It's just absolutely epic.
All right, so tell me a little bit about our day today. We've got a little bit of wind, and also we're kind of getting late. It's getting towards the noon hour.
Correct.
A lot of fly fishermen say you got to be out in the evening or early morning hours.
Correct.
We going to be okay today?
Oh, I think we'll be fine. I think this is absolutely a perfect time to go out. This is most of the time when the hatches come out about noon, and you'll be fine today.
All right, well, you ready to go catch some fish?
I'm ready to do it. Let's do it.
Let's go catch some fish. I've always enjoyed time on the Sacramento River, nicknamed the Nile of the West. Salmon fishing is still good here, although it is recovering from several factors that have reduced the massive salmon runs of the past. There are as many as 60 species of fish in this river, but today we're after rainbow trout. As Kirk points out, there are very strong numbers of trout, and I anticipate a great day of fishing. It only takes a few minutes to arrive at the spot where Kirk wanted to go. And as soon as the line hits the water, we see our first action of the day.
He's going to run. That's okay. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what a fish does when you go on that fly rod. Pull your rod up higher. Yep. Pull your rod up higher. Very good. Now reel up a little bit. You're doing a fine job. Keep that rod completely bent and you'll be fine. Go ahead. So let's try to land this fish. All right. But otherwise we're going to miss the whole drift here. Very nice. Beautiful.
We got him.
Beautiful big fish. Look at that pretty fish. Isn't that gorgeous?
More than 90% of the time, trout feed below the surface. Dry fly fishing is fun, but fishing below the surface or nymphing is one of the most productive ways to catch fish. We use an indicator, this floating ball, and set the hook when we see a strike. Although a few times I'm a little too early or too late, and I miss several fish.
Too early. Get it back in the water.
I have to develop a sense of timing, and with a little practice and Kirk's help, I catch on fast.
You got him. Stay with him. Let him go now. Pull your rod up higher. Now reel fast. Real fast. Beautiful. Let him go. Let him go. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that drag go. That is fantastic. Oh yeah. Isn't that a beautiful rainbow? Look at that. One. Let's go ahead and lift him up. Oh, look at that. Very nice. Look at that.
Nice looking
Pretty fish, huh?
Kirk successfully guides us through several runs, and we see action every time. We eventually beach for a lunch of grilled brats. After lunch, we head back out, and Kirk's son Justin, who is also a guide on staff, joins us. It's not long before his boat hooks a fish. The fight is on, but Justin's client is a veteran angler and successfully lands another great trout. One worth showing the guys back home.
The fish is great. You can't beat it. And the size of the fish are big. Anywhere else I've been, they don't compare to this river.
The thing that impresses me is how large the trout are, 18 inches plus every time. Many fish are 22 to 24 inches or bigger, and we hook fish drift after drift.
There he is. Set it. You got it, baby. Push your rod up higher. Bend that rod.
Thank you, sir. Good coaching.
Coming up, we play the cave bacon as we go underground at the Shasta Caverns. Plus, a trip to Turtle Bay where visitors can meet everything from a kookaburra to a badger. And something unusual is lurking in the waters of Shasta Lake when Fly Fishing West continues.
We got 30 different species of fish, bear and deer that frequent the shoreline, and we got 47 nesting pairs of bald eagle throughout the lake.
The Cavern Queen is the largest boat on Lake Shasta and the only way to get to the Shasta Caverns. It's a quick ride to what we hope will be another great adventure. We're at beautiful and expansive Lake Shasta, just a few miles north of Redding. They have fantastic fishing and boating and recreational activities in this area. But if you come, you're going to want to check out Shasta Caverns, just a few minutes up this road. After the boat arrives, we climb aboard one of several buses for a short ride up the steep mountain to the cavern entrance. The ride is scenic with panoramic views of Shasta Lake and some of its 395 miles of shoreline. But our guide tells us you might also see bear, bobcat, or deer along the way. Once inside the cave, a whole other journey into an unusual world begins.
We call this the Discovery Room. This room was found after the cave had been mapped for tours. This is a wonderful place for you to be introduced to all of the formations that we're going to look at today. Starting with stalactites, the most common formation that people see in the cave.
Our guide is Dave Munt. He helps us understand the various formations we see, the history of the cave, and how things were formed over thousands of years.
All of the formations take on a different appearance due to different factors. The abundance of water, not so much water, the way that the limestone is shaped, drips and drops. It's all different, but they make the same kind of formations out of the same material, which is calcite.
The cavern is eerie and amazing at the same time. Temperatures outside are well above 90 degrees, but inside it's comfortably cool and very damp. We actually begin at the base of the cave and work our way up, climbing a series of stairwells from room to room, each one with its own unique formations, stories to tell, and discoveries to be made.
Right over here we have a formation we call tubular stalactites. Our nickname for these is soda straws because they are indeed hollow inside. These are formed when a drop of water sits on the horizontal surface and it begins to form a ring of calcite. Then when it drops, it leaves that ring behind, and more drops create more rings of the calcite. These can grow very long, 8, 10, 15 feet in length, but they usually get clogged as a piece of sediment makes its way down the tube. We call this area the dome room. This is about 80 feet high with a natural dome at the top. This is what we call a breakdown room. The calcite formed several layers here that we call false floor or peanut brittle because of its appearance.
And if you look closely enough, you can imagine shapes and images, much like you would when watching clouds on a summer day, like this formation called E.T.'s finger, or the shaggy llama.
With his head, his shaggy neck, his shaggy belly, his front legs, back, and his hind legs.
The caves were originally discovered in 1877 by Charles Morton as he chased a bobcat. About a year later, he brought James Richardson along to go inside and explore the cavern. They entered from near the top of the mountain, descending on old iron ladders, which are still there to this day. More and more rooms were discovered, and eventually, a walkway and stairs were constructed for tourists.
We're now entering our cathedral room. This is the biggest room in the cave. This is approximately 180 feet high and just over 200 feet long.
Now, we did not see any of the bats that call the cave home, nor any of the other critters that Dave says live there.
We have small spiders. Some of them are as big as the palm of my hand, but we also have little red ones, about as big as a dime.
The cavern never ceases to amaze. What looks like solid rock is really translucent and glows under a flashlight. Or the drapolite, otherwise known as cave bacon or cave drapery, which is hollow, each tube with its own sound.
You never get tired of seeing new things every day, all the time. Hearing them say, "Wow, this is so cool." There's nothing like watching a little kid's eyes light up when they see the cave.
Shasta Cavern's definitely very cool and interesting. We had a great time. As you come and go, you never know what you might see. As they mentioned, you could see deer, bobcat, maybe a bear. But as you head across the water, keep your eyes peeled because you just might see a dolphin, a whale, or a shark. They are called sea breachers, the brainchild of Dan Piazza and Rob Innes. Actually, somebody else had the vision, but Rob and Dan just brought it to life.
Well, you know, we got it from another guy. He actually come up with the idea, and me and Rob met him, and we took one look at that and knew we could come up with our own ideas on that and build one for ourselves.
The sea breacher is somewhere between a jet ski on steroids, a submarine, and an airplane. They can travel up to 50 miles an hour, can go underwater, and can do aerial tricks.
You actually fly this thing like an aircraft, you know. You drive it with your feet, you steer it with your feet, you pitch the nose up and down with your feet, and you use your hands for the roll.
Each sea breacher is custom made, built in Redding, and tested on Shasta Lake. There are several models ranging in price from about $60,000 to more than $100,000. Buyers can custom make everything from the interior to the paint.
As far as tailor making, it's usually the interior, GPS system, the camera system, just all kinds of different stuff inside.
And while the design of each boat is unique, so is the ride. It's probably like nothing else you've ever done before.
When you watch that water come flying over your head, you know, it's something different.
Sea breachers have gone global too. People are loving them in places like China, Australia, and Dubai.
It's a passion. I enjoy just solving problems with these things and making them perform better, and I just love it.
Up next, Rob and Dan are not finished. We're going to show you their latest invention. But first, back to the river and more fishing. And later, a walk on the wild side at Turtle Bay.
That she does not have any quills on her belly.
We're having a sensational day on the Sacramento River in the heart of Redding, California. We're nymphing for trout, and our guide, Kurt Portocarrero, is at the helm of our drift boat. We've already landed several great fish, and I have another one on.
Fish! You got him! Pull your rod up higher! Pull your rod up higher! There you go! Come on, reel, reel, reel! You gotta put that pressure on there. Good boy! Got another one!
A little high five, buddy, real quick.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks for the coaching job. All right, Kirk, we had a great day. I mean, I had a great day.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for helping me.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it without you. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'd never been in a drift boat before, so there were certain kind of nuances that I had to catch on to. Talk about the importance of the way you cast, and the mending was really important on this river.
Yeah, the mending is really important because if the drift isn't perfect, the fish won't bite it. You got to have a dead drift, which is basically the same speed as the water. If your indicator and all your flies are not going the same speed as the water, they won't bite it.
If you're getting some drag or some pull on your line, you need to correct.
Yes, you've got to constantly correct all day. So it's just not about getting it in the water, it's about getting it in the water correctly. And once you learn how to do that, it's a gimme. It's all up to the fish from there.
All right, so talk to you about me. I needed a little bit of work, a little bit of coaching. Again, a kind of a different animal for me, but you walked us through it.
You went from a B+ to an A+. So over a few hours, you've done it all well, and you were very, very good by the middle of the trip.
Well, I have to hand it to the coach.
Yeah, you did a fine job. You did a fine job.
You know, another thing is that you really understood the water. So there were some places where I was casting and you said 5 feet in, 2 feet out, and you really could read whether there was a current through there or the depth of the river or whatever it is, and you knew exactly. You've been on this water for a while.
Right, it's all about putting in the seam in the right water. You can either go too deep or too shallow. You got to put it in the same depth as where your flies are at and where the fish are at. And knowing where those fish are at is why we've been here for 30 years, 25 years of guiding, and 30 years of being in this area. So it's all about experience and just being on the water 7 days a week.
And I had to get the feel for the bite. I'd see the strike, and sometimes I was a little ahead of it.
Correct.
Sometimes I was a little behind it.
Right.
I was used to lighter fish, maybe 12 inch trout instead of these big things, and I don't think I was setting hard in the early going of the day.
Yeah, that's just all about timing. It's just like your casting. It's all about timing. When to cast it, or when to set the hook, either early or too late, and let them take it again. Sometimes they'll come right back after it after you don't even strike at it. So. And
I know there's some guys that have come out here. They're really good at this. They fish all the time. It's going to be rewarding for them. They're going to catch great fish.
Right.
But if you're the novice and you're looking at this and you're kind of intimidated, there's so many fish here that you get chances to try again, and you eventually get the feel.
I can teach somebody within a few hours of basically how to cast, and it's up to them, and it's up to the fish really. Casting is a big part of it, a huge part of it, but it's up to the fish biting. That's the biggest part right there. If they're biting and you got them in the right spots, it's just all about the fish. Cooperation of the fish is huge.
And there was some good cooperation.
Oh, there's
out
a
there
lot of
today.
cooperation every day out here. Every day, all year round on this river is cooperation.
You've got a great office.
These fish bite every single day.
Very good. Kirk, thank you so much.
Thank
we had
you.
a great day.
I appreciate it,
Thank you
Brad.
for taking us out.
Yeah, you got it. Have a great day.
Coming up, we get to know some of the creatures at Turtle Bay, and we explain what this is all about when Fly Fishing West continues. We're in Redding, California, and we're atop the Sundial Bridge. This bridge connects the east and the west campuses of the Turtle Bay Exploratorium. It's got a special design. There are no support columns going into the water of the Sacramento River. They did that so that they would not hinder the spawning of trout and salmon. The Turtle Bay Exploratorium is a great hands-on learning experience for kids, but it's also a great center for the community. Visitors can learn about exotic birds from faraway places or about the fish swimming in the river below. Salmon, perch, rainbow, even a rare albino trout. It's all on display in a 300-acre facility celebrating the wildlife of the Sacramento River area.
If you want to go out fishing on the Sacramento River and you're wondering what you're going to see there, you can come here first or after. Make sure you stop in and you'll get an up-close look at all the different fish that you actually will find in the Sacramento River. Not necessarily native to the Sacramento River, but live in the Sacramento River.
Besides the wildlife, there are hands-on science exhibits so you can learn about and understand everything from what lives in a riverbank to how big a tree really is.
So the tree right here is a valley oak, and valley oaks is a very common tree that you see around this area, and this actually represents the tree with the root system because there's a whole world happening beneath the ground, and so as big as it is up is just about as big as it is down, and the children, even adults, love it.
Most all the things you see showcase nature in the Redding area, although you might see an Australian kookaburra on display here because he's the larger cousin of a local belted kingfisher. There are educational play areas for the kids and displays explaining the history of logging and how it influenced the area. You can even feed nectar to one of the lorikeets, and you'll learn why a snake has a forked tongue.
The reason that a snake has a forked tongue is because it can distinguish how many of those odor molecules are on one side versus the other, and it helps them to know where their food is.
All of the animals were either rescued or are injured and cannot live in the wild, but they each have very important jobs now, teaching people things like why a fox pounces or why this owl makes no sound as it flies. Visitors see things that they probably won't see in their day-to-day lives, like Digger the badger.
He was orphaned as a youngster. His mom was actually sadly hit by a car, and he was very little and had to be hand-raised. And now he is with us. He's been with us since he was 5 months old, and he's now teaching people about how wonderful badgers are and really dispelling quite a bit of myths.
One of the big stars is Spike the porcupine. She leads the animal parade down the boardwalk. But don't worry, you won't get stuck with any quills. That's just another myth that these animals help to set straight.
Porcupines do not actually shoot their quills, and they're actually very gentle creatures.
Back now to Dan and Rob. This is Rob's baby, the Jetivator.
The Jetivator is a flying motorcycle. Now, it doesn't have an engine, right? So this thing's very light. It sources the water that propels it from a personal watercraft, like a Sea-Doo, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and it pumps it up a 40-foot fire hose up to these 3 nozzles. One of them is a lifting nozzle here at the bottom. That actually propels you into the sky. And then you have 2 propulsion nozzles that you control with your hands. And depending on where you angle these, gives you freedom to move within the air. Plus you can make very rapid movements by redirecting the jet thrust. So if you want to climb high, you'll pull back on it just like control sticks. They'll shoot you way up into the sky, about 25 feet high. If you want to go fast and pick up some speed, you'll push these forward where your propulsion jets are shooting backwards, and you'll go up to about 25, 30 miles an hour depending on the model of personal watercraft you use. It's a 2-person sport in the same way that wakeboarding is. You have one person controlling the Jetivator, and they have free autonomy to the direction they go, the height they go, but you also have another person on the personal watercraft, and they steer behind you. This is actually my idea. I've been tinkering around with all sorts of products for years, but I always wanted a flying motorcycle, and unfortunately, I think if I made it with real rockets, I would not be standing here today. You have full freedom to fly. I mean, it's like soaring like a bird over the water. It's amazing.
We had a great day fishing on the Sacramento River, netting at least 8 fish in just a couple of hours. And the Shasta Caverns and Turtle Bay Exploratorium were really interesting and fun, really great stuff for the whole family. We want to thank everybody in the Redding area who made our visit special, and we'll see you next time on Fly Fishing West.